What's up, Comicbook.com? Welcome back to San Diego Comic-Con. This is the interview I've been most looking forward to all weekend long because we're talking about the creator. We have Director Gareth Edwards with us. First of all, welcome back to Comic-Con. How are you feeling so far?
Feel pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good. Like, I'm at the beginning of this publicity thing for the movie, so like you're probably gonna ask me questions I answer for the first time.
We love that.
We'll see.
That's the best news you could give me, man. Now, this movie, this is the movie I saw the trailer at CinemaCon, and ever since I saw that trailer, this has been the movie I'm most looking forward to for the rest of the year. I mean, what's it like to now start ramping up for you to be able to finally talk about it a little bit until we finally see it later?
It's weird because for the longest time it lives in just your head, and then suddenly, like you catch yourself, you see something either like your trailer, you know, like sat when I watched recently went to see like Fast, you know, X whatever, and basically you sit in the IMAX and it starts playing, and you suddenly pinch yourself and go, like, hang on, this is just something I made up in my head, like 3 years ago. How did this happen? There's been a terrible mistake. How did we convince these people to make this thing? I'm glad they did.
Me too.
I'm very pleased, but it is weird. It's like, and when you go to marketing meetings and other people start talking to you about the film, what's very strange is when they say a character's name for the first time to you, and it's like, and it's like, that's just the name we made up. You know what I mean? Like, and now a complete stranger is talking to you like they exist, and that's freaky.
Do you have a film that stands out to you now that it's out in the world I'm sure maybe Rogue One or Godzilla or something like that, but is there like a character or a moment in a film that people come to you and talk to you about the most that you didn't really expect them to stand out, that's still kind of surreal?
Yeah, I think the thing that everyone always brings up the most is the Darth Vader scene at the end of Rogue One. And I know it sounds silly, but genuinely did not expect anyone to care about that. Like, it was something we wanted to do, but didn't expect it to be a big moment. And we even shot it, and I was saying this earlier on in Hall H, is like, I was very lucky in that Peter Jackson, when I started out with my first film, invited us to go sort of hang out on the set of The Hobbit, and I got to sit and watch him work and learnt loads from him. It was pretty like pinch yourself stuff. And I was like, I can never ever repay him. You know what I mean? What can you possibly do? And so the whole time I was trying to think of ideas, like, what would he care about? Nothing. Like, he's got everything. And then when I was making Star Wars, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I could just invite him to come and do anything on Star Wars, right? But he's really busy. I couldn't get hold of him. And like, no matter how many emails I sent, I just couldn't get a reply. And then finally, on the very last day, I was like, about to film Darth Vader, just letting you know in case you wanted to come along. And I got an email straight back going like, I'll be there in 30 minutes.
And you know that means he read all of them.
Yes.
But then he saw Darth Vader and he was
yeah. And I was more like, when I went home that night, I was like, Peter Jackson was on set. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like, oh, I shot Darth Vader. It was like, it was Peter Jackson. Yeah. Like, Peter Jackson was there, and we were filming, and Peter Jackson was there. Like, that impressed me more. And so that's probably why it didn't get on my radar.
I mean, that scene is incredible.
With Peter Jackson.
I didn't know he was, that's incredible. That's incredible to know he was on set, but I mean, that just maybe speaks to the magic of the scene even more. That's awesome, dude. So the creator, I mean, I find the concept of this film to be tremendously interesting. And also, I mean, it's interesting that it's an AI story with humans versus AI at a time where AI is very much like a popular talking point in every field of work, everywhere you go now. And also, I mean, obviously in film and in television right now. But I mean, what a coincidence is it a coincidence that you're told this story, you came up with this story while AI is kind of at the forefront of so many conversations?
Of course not, right? It was like, no, it was total fluke. I would love to take credit. It was a total fluke. Sure. Actually, you got to give it to Disney marketing because they infiltrated all the big tech companies to make sure AI would become sentient.
Mickey went in there.
Right around the release of this movie. It's perfect timing.
We have seen AI in films before. I mean, Terminator, iRobot. There's some really great films that have used their versions of AI. I would love to hear about how you think the kind of AI that you are implementing in terms of the lore of the creator will stand on its own or have similarities to things we may have seen before in other films or TV or other projects.
Yeah, I think the similarities are inevitable because I grew up loving the movies you talked about. But hopefully it's just a starting point. Like, those similarities kind of take a left turn and the film becomes quite different to those movies pretty quick. But I'd say the biggest difference is I really wanted the AI in the movie to be completely human-like. Like even the robots are very naturalistic. Like basically, I stopped telling people at a certain point whether they're a robot or not, because you notice that people, when they think they're a robot, they start acting a bit different and pushing things a little bit more. And so I would get everyone to play it like they were a human. No one knew who was going to be AI, who wasn't in the scene, and do it like a normal contemporary movie that's not science fiction. And then in post with ILM, we basically, the more naturalistic someone was, the more interesting, the more sort of thrown away, where they just were like bored, or I'm like make that guy a robot, because that would be really fun. You never see that in movies, you know.
You have NPCs in the movie. You have from the games. There's just the people in the background of the robots. I mean, it's interesting to see that it seems like the kind of stamp of an AI character is they have the piece in their head.
Yeah.
Is the telltale sign of the AI in the creator. Can you talk about designing the robots and making sure you have something really original and visually like grounded and acceptable at the same time?
It's very hard to design a robot because there's so many great iconic robots that have been done in cinema. What we did, James Klein was the production designer on our film, and what we did is, instead of saying we got to design this character, like, let's go do it, we were like, let's design like a whole stack of robot heads, and then our best ones, we'll cast the movie from that and say, this is that person, this is that person. And we started off making them quite human, and it just wasn't interesting enough. So then we went towards insects, and we got like insect heads, and we would take basically photos of insects and then make them like product design, you know, like it was something Sony Walkmans would have made if they were making an insect head. And then that would give us some results, but not everything. And then other times it'd be like, okay, now let's take some Sony type products, or like, you know, something like a film project, like a, you know, projector at home, and like start making that into a robot head. And we'd just take anything and start like basically merging it with something else. So you kind of recognize it, but I mean, we ran out at a certain point, you know, you get a gun at your head and it's like, we need to make these shots now. But we could have designed robots for like 5 years. It was such a fun thing to do.
That sounds awesome. And John David Washington is playing the main character. He seems to be the protagonist of this one. Can you introduce me to his character, what we can expect from him?
Yes, his character name is Joshua. And he is essentially, in this movie, the world is divided in two. Half the world is banned AI. It's a terrible thing. Don't want it. Something horrific happened. The other half is like, totally fine, didn't happen to us, who cares? We're going to carry on making AI until it's human-like. And it's essentially East versus West in a way. And so John David's character is so infiltrating a terrorist cell of AI to kind of befriend them, become part of their group, in sort of insurgency over in Asia. And the movie begins when they basically come to extract him to kind of kill the creator of AI. So it's kind of like the opening scene is a bit like picture being in Osama bin Laden's house when SEAL Team 6 come. That's the opening scene, and it all sort of goes wrong.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait to see this movie. You're reteaming with Greg Fraser, your cinematographer, on this, and he's done Dune, he's done The Batman, his resume is incredible, his work is incredible, and his work with you in the past has been incredible. In reteaming it with him on the creator, what can you say about, like, how has he learned new tricks? What kind of evolution have you noticed in Greg?
Well, so yeah, Greg, I think we're both a bit rebellious about the industry. Like when I first met Greg, I had this whole spiel that I got to sort of say to this DP, like, if we work together, like, here's all the things I hate about filmmaking. Here's all the things that I think that we do wrong. And he sat down with me and he went, can I just say something? And I was like, yeah. And he said that list back to me, like, and he was already there, like, in terms of his dislike for how, like, this 100-year-old industry has never changed and everything. And so we've always been looking for ways to just, like, be more efficient or whatever, or more organic. And Oren Sofer, who's the DP as well on this movie, because Greg had to go and do that Dune 2 movie, apparently.
Small, tiny film. Yeah.
Like, you win a little gold man and you're like, see ya.
I gotta run.
I got other friends now.
I mean, he is brilliant at capturing some incredible landscapes, some incredible settings, and scope in camera. And did you get to kind of help him flex those muscles? And did he kind of help you flex those muscles as well as a director?
Yeah, we had a camera that you can buy in Best Buy. We used a thing called a Sony FX3, and it's the difference between a prosumer, like a really good prosumer camera, and the top cinema cameras you can buy is minuscule. Like they're nearly identical. And the upside of using this sort of prosumer camera was that we could shoot in moonlight. It's so sensitive to light. You don't need much light to do anything. So we ended up using very small, like lightweight portable LED lights like you've got here to light scenes and stuff. And we even got to the point where instead of having like a boom holding a microphone, we had people holding booms with the lights on the end, so that as we would quickly move around with the camera, they could quickly move the light. And so we didn't, normally on a movie you wait 20, 30 minutes for relighting. And so it's happening instantly.
Wow.
And so we would do takes that would last like 25 minutes and stuff like that.
So when you're doing stuff like that, I mean, it sounds like, I imagine on like a Rogue One or a Godzilla, like the production size, it sounds like you guys really did this much more intimately, much more kind of on the run with it.
There was kind of trying to find a nice marriage between the two.
Sure.
So like the blockbustery stuff, we had there was days we had hundreds of extras, massive explosions, quite classical stuff. And we even shot on Stagecraft, which is the Mandalorian technology with the LEDs.
Cool.
And obviously ILM were doing all the visual effects. And then on other days, we were very guerrilla. There was like, when we finished filming the screenplay, we spent a month going to the Himalayas. We went to Indonesia. We went to like volcanoes. We went to like Tokyo and ancient ruins in Cambodia, and shot little moments and all sorts of things just with like a handful of people, and then pepper that throughout the movie. Like when you watch the film, hopefully you can't really tell, but there's like, as you watch like one of the more like big set pieces, it's something like, and that's a little shot from Cambodia, and that's Nepal, and but you can't, hopefully the viewer doesn't understand, and it just kind of hits them like, this seems massive,
And you co-wrote this with Chris Weitz,
Yes.
who also worked on Rogue One with you. What was it like to collaborate together and develop this original story?
Chris is a way better writer than me, and so like I hate writing, like I 100% hate it with a passion, and it's like homework, and it's like being sentenced to like the worst homework in the world. And so I got a couple of drafts out, and at a certain point I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I can't do this anymore. You got to take this over the finish line. And Hussein Amini, who was also attached to it, who's a brilliant writer, he did a couple of drafts, and then he had to go and work on another film. And so Chris came in, and he was available, and we had an amazing relationship on Rogue One. And Chris is a very spiritual person as well, and so he brought a lot of meaning to the film, which I'll give him credit for. Not everything, but just maybe that.
I mean, the name, the creator, I mean, it seems like there's biblical themes in this to begin with, and you just mentioned he brought a spiritual kind of presence to the story. How can you explain or elaborate on how, like, there is kind of maybe like a humans are trying to play God element to this film?
Yeah, well, the creator has a double meaning, because it's like, it means, on one side, it means the person who is building AI, which in the eyes of the West in our movie is public enemy number one, is like Osama bin Laden. We want them dead, right? They're doing this terrible thing. On the other side of the fence, from the AI's point of view and the people who live in Asia, the creator is like God, like is creating all these beautiful people. And so it has this double meaning. And also, when I was over in traveling, I'm friends with Jordan Voigt-Roberts, who did Skull Island. He invited me over to Vietnam, and ended up like doing this quick whiz tour of Vietnam. And I was thinking of this movie a little bit at the time. I just kept picturing everything as like robots, and we'd see like Buddhist monks, in temples and stuff. And you'd go, God, if that was a robot, like that feels like some sort of movie that's like Apocalypse Now, but like in the Blade Runner universe. And to me, that was like, I've not seen that film, and it was so seductive. Like, got to make that film. No one's done that, and so that spirituality is kind of, but they're kind of like these Buddhist monks in our movie that are AI, and every time they turn up on screen, I just want to talk to them. Like, are you like, what's going on? Like, what do you think is going to happen? And they, like, I never got to, like, in theory, I don't know the answers because I never got to chat to one of these AI monks. But it's like, but that's like kind of the beauty of science fiction, is that when you go, like, to me, if we traveled in time and went to 2070 when the film's set, shot a movie, came back in time, the ideal version is that you have the studio or other people will watch it and go, what's that giant building? And I'm like, I don't know. And go, who's that guy there? What's that machine doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it was the future. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
Like, if it makes total sense to you immediately, it's not the future. Like, you shouldn't understand.
That's an interesting perspective. I like that. That's really cool. My last question for you is the trailers we've seen. The trailer has "Dream On" as the song in it.
Yeah.
So I guess this is kind of two questions. One is, do you get to have input in the trailer? I know there's a whole marketing team, one of the biggest marketing teams in the world at this studio. But do you get to say, hey, let's hold this for the movie, let's make sure this is in the trailer, and have say in the song? And in your opinion, does that song kind of reflect maybe something about AI and their ability to dream, their ability to think for themselves?
I mean, that's a nice way to put it.
Hey, I'll take it. I got that right. We'll go. Let's go. But do you have input in the trailer? Do you have any kind of say, like suggestion or what to put in, what to keep for the theatrical experience?
Yeah, I mean, the way it tends to work is they all do their thing, and they cook some things up,
Sure.
and lots of things, not just one thing. And they have lots of different things they outsource stuff to, and eventually you get brought in, and they sort of do a presentation of like, here's the trailer we were thinking of, or here's some other stuff we were thinking of. Here's a whole stack of posters and all sorts of things, and you react to that. And there's stuff like they respect, what you have to say, and so you can steer it. And I think with the trailer, like I'm a big Aerosmith fan. I have that song, like it's my favorite Aerosmith song. But I wasn't sure about it, and I was like, is this the right thing to do? Like, because it's not in the movie or anything. And they were like, trust us, Gareth, trust us. I was like, oh, God, here we go. And they were right. Everybody reacted really well to it. So what do I know,
How do you find the fan reactions?
You mean to the trailer?
Sure, yeah. Like, where do you
you mean like
first
the
see them?
videos when they film?
Or whether it's a video or Twitter, how do you see what people are saying?
As a filmmaker, right? As a humble filmmaker, I have to pretend that I don't look at that stuff.
No,
right?
me either. Saying
I don't
read
care
the
what anyone
comments.
thinks.
No.
And it's like catnip. You end up looking.
Just one.
Just
Okay, just one more. Yeah.
And the thing is, you scroll down, and it's one bad comment. We go, "Arr."
That's it. It's always the 1 out of 100, and you're like, you son of, what did I do wrong?
1 out of 100. That's pretty good hit rating.
Yeah. Well, but I think people are pretty excited for this movie, and I know I am. It's an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Thank
I
you.
cannot
Yeah,
wait
you
to
too.
see the creator. Everybody stay tuned to Comicbook.com for more from San Diego Comic-Con.